What's one thing you've done that made your life so much better? Story 1. Made my bed every morning. Sounds dumb, but it made me feel like I had control over at least one thing. Story 2. I quit using meth and heroin and anything else on 106/2021. That opened the door for all of the things to make my life better. Story 3. I stopped drinking adult beverage nearly 5 years ago. I feel better in many ways. In others, I've become antisocial. Story 4. Stop caring what other people think. Be yourself. I'm 51 years old and still rock Jordan high tops, Vans and Osiris. Don't give a darn what people think. I'm happy that is all that matters. Story 5. Set a sleep schedule. This helped me sleep less, but get enough sleep and be more functional. It feels great to be well rested. Story 6. I started spending a lot less time on Reddit. I was creating something instead, writing a book, and Reddit just faded. I was sleeping better, less irritable, and more productive. Then when I came back, I noticed how much Redditors complain and blame. As soon as I see a complaint about something or someone or some behavior, I just fudge right out of Reddit that day. Within 5 minutes every day, there's another miserable person. It's almost all Reddit does. I know we like to think Reddit is better than other social media, but it's actually worse. If you're not already miserable, it will make you miserable. Story 7. Letting things go. If it's not for me, it's not for me. If it leaves it, it wasn't meant to be in my life. Greater things are always in my future. Story 8. Started exercising nearly every day and eating much better. Eliminated junk food, etc. Feeling much better. Story 9. Started living. No fixation on the past. No fixation on the future. Only the present moment is real. Everything else is imaginary. Story 10. I learned to let go of the things I can't control. Since then, life has become much easier and more peaceful. Story 11. Gosh, there are many things. 1. Quit smoking. 2. Prioritize travel, not getting any younger. 3. Wrote off energy vampire friends family. 4. Started taking more accountability. 5. Take more action, stop saying and start doing. Story 12. Stop trying to force anything that wasn't working financially. Instead of panicking about rent every day, week, month, year, I just moved home. I work hard, and I know the economy will turn back towards people like me one day. Rent isn't my problem anymore. My money isn't my landlord's. If he wants money for a certain lifestyle, he should earn it, rather than extorting me for my labor. If I couldn't move home, I'd live in a van. Answer: it's not the landlords stealing share your money, it's the agencies, investors, and market. Investors only build for people with money, so they build upmarket properties, whatever that means. Agencies are dependent on the price placed by the market interaction between supply and demand. Before uncontrolled immigration, rents were low as properties usually were rented for a brief period while people saved to buy their own. Poor neighborhoods became prime location for many illegals who would want to live there. However, with dwindling purchase power, more people tried to find relief in these neighborhoods, impacting rental house prices. In other words, everyone has had to downgrade, and since everyone needs a roof over their head, the demand has increased and the market responds, having houses and rents increase exponentially, influencing the market in a domino way. Only the extremely wealthy don't fall into this trap, as the number of wealthy people doesn't fluctuate that much. I know a guy that rents an apt in a nice area where I live in Europe, and while his mortgage is below 250 euro, the agency charges 1150 euro for the APT. They won't work with him if he would. want to lower his price. These are the real culprits, core buying up apps and houses before they hit the market. Story 13. Started volunteering as a disability support worker, ended up getting a job through it. Now I get paid double most of my uni friends, and I get to hang with people who have intellectual disabilities who brighten my day every time I see them, and being able to help them makes everyone involved feel awesome. Also, dropping math after grade 11 saved me in year 12. Didn't end up needing it for uni anyway. Story 14. A run or a long walk every day, finding a genuinely interesting, fulfilling, and varied job, children's social worker, and having a baby. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. Story 15. I change perspective at understanding myself. When an inconvenience happens, I'm not judging my actions and emotions. I try to focus on my feelings deeply and validate them, reflect on them. It is really a hard work, but it's worth it. Story 16. Waking up an hour earlier so that I don't feel so rushed before work. Now, I have time to make and eat a proper yogurt and do 10-15 minutes yoga stretching. Makes each day way better. Story 17. Hired a housekeeper and lawn person. No, I'm not wealthy, but relieving ourselves from those things gave us much more time to enjoy things we like to do. I opted for a smaller, less expensive home in order to afford this. I've had these services for over 20 years. Story 18. Taking better care of my health. This includes a variety of things, but for me, it means no social media, quit drinking, hit the gym 4 days a week no matter what, stay hydrated, etc. Story 19. Stop saying I promise. If I say yes to doing something, I'm going to do it. Making your word your bond makes you think mindfully about how you're showing up for people. Story 20. Vipassana. 10 days of silent meditation. Learned how to stop complaining and making excuses and instead be accountable for my actions and my life. The 2-minute rule. Learned from Struthless on YouTube. If there's something you must do and it takes 2 minutes or less, do it right away. For example, dishes. Just put them in the dishwasher right away. It frees up mental space. The best part is letting go of the dread associated with the thing I'm avoiding. It's just a non-issue, which is surprisingly liberating. Story 21. I made a point of doing small acts of kindness to strangers whenever I saw the opportunity for one. It has brought me so many nice and beautiful meetings and random good moments on the daily. My favorite thus far was offering a guy that sounded like he had the worst cough I've ever heard a little packet of unopened cough drops. The look of relief and gratitude he gave me was so fudge relatable. I have never felt more like a superhero in my life. Ever since I've made a point to have these lil reusable packs of portion-packed cough drops with me to be able to offer people that seem like they may benefit from it somehow. It's amazing how such a small thing can genuinely make people's day just a little bit easier. I have a picture of the ingredients on my phone so they can check for preferences, allergens, and sugar contents. I always make sure to offer them to see that too. For me, this is something really small, but I know there a time when I dreamed about being able to afford doing things like this. It's also a good reminder to myself that it's a privilege I didn't used to have. It's difficult to share what you don't have, no matter how much you want to. I also have an extra lil unopened pack of tissues with me for the same reason. Sudden sniffles suck, especially when you don't have tissues at hand. TLDR, just actively putting more kindness in the world. Story 22. Cut out toxic people from my life, even if it meant no longer having a whole group of people I'd considered friends. It may seem scary to do something like that. Some might even say it's drastic, but You only have so much time to live before it's all over. Being free to spend that precious time with people who do love you as you are is so much better. Answer: I've been there. It was all fun and games for many years until conflict arose. Everyone stuck their heads in the sand because they didn't want to deal with toxicity being called out at and showed exactly how good a friend they were. It was quite confrontational to learn that the people you love didn't actually give a darn. But life is much better, and precious time is much better spent on new people in my life now. Story 23. Moved out of my hometown. At one point, I was severely depressed, and getting a change of scenery did wonders for my mental health. Story 24. If something takes less than 5 minutes, I do it on the spot. Too many times I'd put something off for weeks, even months, that took 5 minutes to do. Story 25. Mentally, dropped most forms of social media. Have been Instagram and Facebook free for 8 months, and my mental health has significantly improved. Spiritually, thanking the universe for its gifts and being kinder to people. If I say something negative, I try to counteract it with 2 positives. In the same sense, if I say or think something judgmental or rude about a stranger, I will pay them 2 compliments in my head. The more good you put out into the world, the more good will return. And now I find myself giving more compliments than passing judgments. Physically, eating better and getting more. Exercise. Lost 60 pounds recently and went to Cedar Point for the first time without being scared of not fitting on a ride, and I feel the best I have since high school. Story 26. I stopped driving myself crazy with daily exercise routines and pointless restrictions on fast food. Now I feel much better, and it shows. I'm so much more chill now, even my jeans are relaxed fit. Story 27. Deleted Facebook. Was honestly just scrolling mindlessly through my feed, comparing myself to everyone else's highlight reels. 3 months later, my mental health has improved dramatically, and I've reconnected with friends through actual conversations instead of just liking their posts. Story 28. I am trying to accomplish this one new life improvement now. I put my business phone on a second iPhone and am limiting how often I run to it and checking it, and not taking it out with me outside of business hours. Right now, it's a struggle, but it will change. Story 29. Setting boundaries. Once I started saying no without guilt, everything from my mental health to my relationships got way better. Story 30. Accepted myself for all of the ugly parts. Once I finally was able to, metaphorically, look in the mirror and not judge, hold space, and love what I saw, my anxiety got so much more manageable. It may just be getting older. I'm 35 and a mother of 2. But I feel that I have finally become my authentic self. I am comfortable and confident in my life, and no longer have imposter syndrome, most days at least. Story 31. Having children. NGL. The early years were tough, but they are my pride and joy. We have so much fun together and really made my life better. Story 32. Started climbing at middle age. Now in much better shape both physically and mentally. New friends, and a lot more social activity. The only downside is that it takes a lot of time, but that is time well spent. Story 33. There are a whole host of them. On the small end, take a daily fiber supplement. On the large end, therapy and consistent exercise. Story 34. Running. Which is insane for me to say. I tend to be pessimistic, and it got worse after a shoot breakup. I didn't realize how much weight I gained until one day I just looked in the mirror, like really looked, and I blew up like a Macy's day balloon. So I began to walk. Walking became power walking, and then one day I just ran and been running ever since. At first it was hard, but darn, the first time I completed my first 3 miles, I cried because I didn't think I could do it. And I didn't think I would ever get to a point in life where I would see myself be more optimistic and a go-getter. So, yay, the people who work out are right, and I'm glad I was proven wrong about this one. Story 35. I retired, and a funny thing happened. I lost 110 pounds and my BP went down 80 points. Stress is a hell of a thing. 60 male here who now weights what I did at 27 years old. Now, all my friends who are the same age as me and still working look 10 years older than me. Story 36. Quitting doom scrolling and learning a topic instead. Cut out frequent regular cannabis and adult beverage consumption, as well as replacing sugary drinks with water and electrolytes. Never felt better. Story 37. This is dumb, but I bought a really smart robot vacuum that self-empties and everything. It makes me so happy to wake up to sparkling floors every day. Story 38. Reducing caffeine intake and drastically increasing how much water I drink. I'm sleeping better and have more energy and don't seem to experience the afternoon slump as much. Story 39. Quit toxic relationship that could potentially get me in jail, maybe even eliminate LOL. It's really hard, but I promise, it gets so much better. Story 40. Gray rocking people instead of playing into their games baiting. It's so much better for me and drives them crazy. Story 41. Writing down all my thoughts and progress instead of dumping on the people I'm attached to, making expenditure plans and budget roadmaps, as well as admitting to how much I fudge up when I do fudge up to the people that care because they've accepted that it's gonna take a long time to unfuck whatever unholy things go on inside me, so I shouldn't be so hard on myself. Oh, and that last bit, not being hard on myself for needing support systems because of how different everything functions for me. Story 42. Going to the gym 4 times a week. It is so good for me mentally and physically. I don't do boring things like lifting weights. I do these super high energy dance classes, and they are so much fun. They always lift my mood, and I am getting muscle definition in places I've never had it before. Story 43. Cut out all my friends involved in bullshit that only ever leads to prison. Don't get me wrong, I still love them, but they can keep that shoot to themselves as far as I'm concerned. Story 44. I think I've seen it said in this list already, but worth repeating. Drinking water. So simple. Cures what ails ya. Water. Story 45. IDK, but miraculously, sleeping early at night. It made me energized in the morning and improves my mood the whole day. Story 46. Deleted Facebook, Insta, and Snapchat. Started using no as a complete sentence and decentered men. I literally started aging backwards and thriving. Story 47. Waiting 15 minutes after a frustration to decide if it's something that really needs an immediate escalated response. Walking to work, buying a juicer. Story 48. Stopped using Instagram, stopped eating fast food almost every day, started bike riding as exercise, drinking way less soda, and no more coffee every morning. Story 49. Stopped giving a fudge what other people think. Not to the point of being a jerk or anything, but in general, not caring about other people's toxic shoot. Story 50. Deleted Instagram and Facebook, now just use Reddit. It cut a ton of partied too hard, time and drama out of my life, and I can't see myself going back. It's been 2.5 years now. Story 51. Getting a divorce. When my ex-wife told me she wanted out, I tried to save the marriage, but I'm glad she didn't let me. A year later, I'm so much happier without her, and I never realized how toxic our marriage was. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Story 52. Unfollowed all the negative, world is ending people on social media. Now, I just see pretty quilts, horses, and the dumb stuff for my kids' activities and school I have to keep track of. It's wonderful. Story 53. I gave up IQ smoking. It wasn't easy, but it's definitely the best decision. Life feels so much better and safer without it. Story 54. I used to have a Facebook account, and initially, I grew concerned with the number of security breaches they kept having. So I closed my account, completely fed up. Then I realized life was so much better when I wasn't bombarded with people posting about the picture-perfect moments of their lives. Leaving Facebook was the best decision I ever made. Mind you, I get tempted to rejoin every once in a while, but it's usually a very fleeting temptation. Story 55. Worked out regularly. Even though my schedule is inconsistent, getting a regular workout in does wonders for my physical and mental health. Story 56. Threw out all my different types of socks, replaced with loads of one single type of sock. I have saved so much time on sock pairing and no longer feel the frustration of the eternal odd sock predicament. Story 57. Stop talking to people who I don't enjoy being with or drains me. I feel so much more at peace and like I have control over my interests. Story 58. A couple thousand steps a day, started at 4,000, worked it up to 10,000 at my peak, and try to get in 7,000 now. Taking walks, especially if you're at a desk all day, helps with all aspects of my life mentally and physically. Story 59. Took my health serious. Stopped telling people I want the best for them when I wasn't even showing up for myself. Story 60. Deleted TikTok 6 months ago. Best decision I've made for my mental well-being in this social media obsessed age. I was addicted to doom scrolling, which I know people laugh about, but it's a huge problem. I read books so much more now and sleep so much better. Story 61. Less negative thoughts is way more important than more positive thoughts. Focus on self-discipline, become aware of your negative cycles, and stop letting those emotions control you. If you figure out how to do this, please let me know. Story 62. Weight loss surgery. I lost 45 kilograms, and a life of dieting and fighting to keep it off. I've spent the last 4 years not worrying about my weight or self-loathing because I dislike carrying weight. 5:1. Story 63. Stop drinking. It's probably the one that's most accessible to every adult, and they won't know just how much it changes everything until they try it for a sustained period. It's all upside. Story 64. I found an intelligent, funny, tall, athletic, beautiful woman who can cook like a Michelin chef, and who loves me without conditions, and who has followed me all over the world in my employment with never a word of complaint. 40 years of marriage now, 2 kids, 3 grandchildren. Story 65. Quit drinking energy drinks. I was legit addicted. I would have at least 1 but up to 3 every single day. Energy needed or not, LOL. Then I started to get this searing pain in my side. Many tests later, doc says I have kidney stones 100 correlated to energy drinks. So I quit. Cold turkey. Fudge, it was hard. And still, to this day, I'll pull into a gas station S&D, just instinctively walk up to the energy drink section, then I'll catch myself and snap out of it. Story 66. Grew a backbone. No, is a complete sentence. Because I don't want to. is an acceptable answer. Life is a 1000x better when I'm not being walked on. Story 67. Went to a party instead of finishing off a paper while at college. Met a girl, got talking, and now our kids are off to college. If I hadn't have gone, I wouldn't have met her, and life probably wouldn't be as good as it is. Story 68. Learned about sleep, particularly blue light's effect on melatonin. As someone who always has had one screen or another shining into my eyes and who couldn't sleep well or wake up on time for most of my adult life, this has been a genuine lifesaver. Story 69. Getting in shape. A couple of years back, I went to laser tag with my nephew for his birthday. There was 2 other adults on my team. They both stayed in base, while I went running around. By the end of it, I was a little sweaty, but felt fine. They, on the other hand, looked like they were about to die. I see a lot of people my age complain about their bodies, and that most of that doesn't come from getting older. It has way more to do with them being incredibly out of shape. The older you get, the more value being in shape has, and it doesn't take a lot to see great results. Story 70. Moved out of my parents' place after saving money. This is a miracle because between caregiving, working part-time, and having a disability myself, I'm finally able to rent a room close to full-time work. Yay for freedom. Story 71. Applying the "if there is a solution, why are you worried? Well, it will be resolved. And if there is no solution, why are you worried? If whatever you do, it won't be resolved." Haha. It has given me so much peace of mind that I think I should apply it even more. Story 72. I got a sleep study and it turns out I have severe sleep apnea. Once I started using a CPAP machine, it improved my life significantly. I wasn't tired every day anymore. I felt well rested in the mornings. It made me feel 10 years younger. I regret not getting a sleep study sooner. I highly recommend it for anyone who has sleep issues. I was always scared of having to sleep with a CPAP machine, and now I want to sleep with it every night. It makes a huge difference. Story 73. Just doing daily good deeds for strangers. I love the feeling of being able to make someone's day a little bit better. Story 74. Stopped investing in one-way friendships. Use that energy on myself and friends who reciprocate in a way that makes me feel seen, and started saying no and letting go. Living by the mantra, if it should be, it will be. Story 75. Stop going out to pubs clubs. I was never into it, but I did it to please mates and the social expectation. I now only ever have one small whiskey on a Saturday night in the autumn-winter time at home when I've got the kids to sleep. Wish I'd quit the party lifestyle in my early 20s and made better use of my weekends. Story 76. Got all of my teeth fixed with a 3-on-6 procedure. Best decision of my life, hands down. The world is mine now. Story 77. Respecting my time and realizing being a people pleaser actually gets me disliked more than liked, LOL. Story 78. Indulging in a small act of self-care daily, whether it's spraying on a well-scented perfume, going on a walk outdoors, or just taking a few extra minutes in a warm shower. It definitely makes my day better. Story 79. I had bad ADHD. I've learned to tell myself to just wait or hold off when I freak out or do things too fast. It's an amazing thing of change. I'm not perfect, but even 50 of the time it helps a lot. Story 80. Getting healthy, improving my fitness. Took my health for granted over the years, switching from an active lifestyle to a sedentary one as an adult. A type 2 diabetes diagnosis was a wake-up call, and I've lost close to 80 kg and counting. Aside from weight loss through calorie reduction, through eating more whole foods and less calorically dense, but CISO is the deciding factor, The focus on improving my strength and cardio has done wonders for me. You know it's good for you and all, but the general daily increases in mental focus and the lower cost of every daily activity has led to such a large improvement to my overall quality of life. And as someone that's a bit of an intimacy fiend, it's improved a ton of factors for my intimacy life that I am thoroughly enjoying. Maybe too much, as my wife is literally to the point where she is turning it down sometimes because intimacy is now too intense and too much at times. Story 81. Getting a higher education, trade, or degree, but my severe chronic illnesses have held me back a lot in life, unfortunately. Story 82. Put all of my reoccurring financial dates, bills, subscriptions, month budget items, etc. in my Reminders app. I also created shortcuts to my morning and evening routines with home screen widgets. I find that if I take the actual thinking out of my hands, there's a way better chance that everything gets covered. Story 83. Reading for fun more, I lose my shoot.